It's really your lung function. So if your lung function normally is 100%, mine were at 21%. If I was to walk up a flight of stairs, I would be totally out of breath. So it was time. Well, I had been on the transplant list for approximately 10 years. A while ago, I kept getting bad bacteria, so they thought I should be on the transplant list. You know, they activate you once you start to get sicker. So a couple of times they wanted to activate me, but I kind of held off and said no, because it's a group decision, because it's a life-threatening surgery you're going through. You know, there's no guarantees that you'll come off the table. I refused to be activated twice because I thought I could kind of beat the odds again and, you know, through exercise get a little stronger and be able to continue what I was doing. It got to the point though I was just getting sicker and my lung function was worse. And then the doctors were concerned that, you know, I was getting older. At the time of transplant I was 55, and they were concerned that I may not have the reserve if I waited too long and then I got an infection with cystic fibrosis that I may not bounce back from. On April 17th, I received another call for transplant. I was actually doing some volunteer work at the Esiason Foundation, and I was in a meeting with one of my coworkers, and the phone rang, and they said they had another set of lungs. They were a perfect match, and that Dr. Sonnet was doing the surgery, and they wanted me to come in. So I went home and I put my oxygen tank on and I went for a jog. So I only went for like a mile, but I thought it'd be good to go for a jog before the surgery if it was going to happen. And then I called my mom, my brother, sister, and we gathered up the troops and we went over. Around 3 in the morning, Cahill just showed up with the gurney to take me to surgery. So I was like, wait a minute, is this happening, or what, is it a go? We don't, you know. They said, well, they want you down in the surgery. They want you down there. And then they came in at one point and they gave me a pill. They said, we want you to take, this is your first anti-rejection drug. So I was like, oh, so is it a go? They said, well, we don't know yet. And then a half hour later, at this point it must be like 4:30, one of the doctors comes and says, congratulations, it's a go, we're going to take you into the operating room. So I'm like, well, wait a minute, I got to go to the bathroom. So I get up off the table in my gown, and they're like kind of freaking out, and I said, I'll be right back. And I go to the men's room, and I come back, and I start sending email. I had a group email that I sent and put it up on Facebook that it's a go, and I'm going into surgery. My family thought I was crazy. And then they start rolling me to the operating room with my family. You know, I just said goodbye to them and, you know, see you later. And they roll me into the operating room. That's kind of, I think, when it hit me. Because they roll you into the operating room, and there had to be like 10, 12, 15 people in there, and they're all with gowns and masks and moving, and, you know, they put you on the table, and you're kind of just confused and strapping down your arms and whatnot, and within 5 minutes I was out. My surgeon said that because I was so active and did a lot of exercise, that my chest cavity was pretty opened up. So whatever that means, he was able to go in a lot easier without cracking the sternum. I was in a coma for 48 hours. It's really the hardest on your family. I mean, I remember my mom looking at me like she saw a ghost. But you're so drugged up you don't realize it, but you have all tubes and IVs and everything hanging from you. The first breath I had after surgery was a little strange. It just was a different feeling. My lungs felt so big that they felt like they were kind of bursting out of my chest. But they said that's kind of normal when you're not used to, you know, taking a full breath, and when your lung capacity is only at like 21%, being able to breathe, it's just something you haven't been used to in many, many years. After the transplant, I was in the hospital for 15 days. Then they move you to the floor, and then they get you up, and you're on chest tubes. I had 4 chest tubes in me. And they get you up pretty quickly to stand and walk. But it's a big adjustment. I mean, you're taking a lot of pills, and they teach you the names of the pills, and I take 40-something pills a day. So, yeah, and then you come home, start your new life. You know, my recommendations to people that are in the process of being listed or are activated for transplant is that you do really need to stay active. Exercise any way, shape, or form, because the more you do that, the easier it is going to be for you to get through the transplant, and the better the recovery will be. And then, you know, be positive. It's a new lease on life, and you know, if you're at the point where you are activated, you really don't have much of a choice. So I still have cystic fibrosis. I'm still part of the CF community. What's changed is that my lungs don't have CF anymore. Most people, after you have a transplant, you end up getting diabetes. So I have diabetes now, so I have to check my blood and I have to take insulin shots, but I don't have to do any aerosolized antibiotics anymore, things of that nature. I'm 3 months out from transplant. I'm doing quite well. I've been exercising. I've had 2 bronchoscopies already, and I have no rejection. I've kind of calmed down a little bit more, just calm down and appreciate things more. And you know, somebody had to die in order for me to live. So, as I said, I think about my donor every day, and I appreciate the gift that he gave me. So it's a very humbling experience. I'm on the other side now. I'm with the transplant people. So I went from one side to the other. I crossed the line.